Well, hey, everybody, this is Tanner Mulvihill over at Bayfield Home Loans, and I'm joined by real estate superstar, neighborhood superstar, currently snowed in superstar, Ann Marley Green. Ann, how are you today?
I am so happy to have someone to talk to outside of my immediate family right now. Cabin fever has set in, and this is very exciting for me.
Well, good. I should have said iced in because that's probably more an accurate description of what's going on. But at the same token, I'm glad that we're able to talk about real estate for Embrey Mill. We're kicking off January strong. So, we're going to change it up a little bit for the folks because we're going to talk a little bit more data this time. So let me go and get to that for everybody. And the first graph that you've put together for us, I'm just going to give you the floor. This is yours. Do your thing. What are we looking at? Because it's a lot.
Yeah, so we are brand new into the new year. So not a whole lot of data to go off of, but we're obviously number nerds. So we figured why not lean into this for the new year.
We do like some numbers. Yes, indeed.
So on the left, it's kind of a snapshot of everything that's going on in our neighborhood right now. So we have 6 actives, a bunch of pending, and then
I love that.
Full of solds.
Okay.
And then we kind of broke it down between the single family homes, townhomes, and the 55 and older townhomes. No 55 and older resale condos yet.
But we're looking
to pop on the market. They're pretty new, so nobody's looking to sell them yet.
Yeah.
But, some pretty good numbers coming into the new year.
Let me ask you this, because question on the coming soon. Is that typical for this time of year that we're not going to see those and then they start popping up more February, March, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so really the time most listings come on the market in our area is kind of end of March, definitely through April, and then beginning of May is really the bulk of listings that we see. So coming soon, it used to be that you could only put it on 21 days in advance of the home going on the market. Now it's unlimited. So as soon as you know you have a listing coming up, you can throw it in coming soon in the MLS. I am a little OCD with how I do my listings. So I will not put any listings in any status in the MLS until I have the professional photos in.
Yeah.
But I would expect that we see a lot more of those coming on the market soon. Some people will only put them in coming soon for about a week out from the home going active. So I would definitely say into February, we're going to see a lot more of those spike up.
Well, it's such a great point you made on the coming soon photos, though, because it's amazing how the photos can make a difference, and good or bad. And last year when we talked about the number one priced home that sold, if you remember those photos, they didn't look particularly great, but clearly the house had so much going for it because of the sales price. So it's important to get the professional photos done. I know you work with an amazing photographer. So if you're getting ready to list your house, get Ann over so we can start getting, well, honestly, decluttered or whatever needs to get done so it gets properly put together for everybody.
Yep. No, I'm having a lot of meetings with sellers. I always say it doesn't matter if you're going to sell, in 3 months, in a year, 2 years. Having me come in the door sooner rather than later so we can just very casually walk through and point out anything I think you would need to do before getting it listed. Nobody wants to be a week out from the photographer coming in and really scrambling to get those projects done. So as much time as you can give yourself, the better.
More stress when you do it that way, that's for sure. Now, let's talk about the part of the graph on the right. So what do we got over here?
So these are just the sold statistics. So we really only had 4 homes to kind of go on. It was 3 single family homes, 1 townhome. So definitely the single family homes are the bulk of the sales here in the neighborhood. That's pretty typical. What I did find pretty surprising was the price for the single family homes. Average in this neighborhood is typically in the mid 700s. We have those outliers that are, closer to $1 million.
Yep.
Every once in a while, we'll have the single family homes that are closer to $600,000. We averaged $668,000 for the sold single family homes in the neighborhood, which I thought was particularly low. Yeah. And then townhomes still holding strong in the mid 500s.
Awesome. And then the last part at the top, we got the graph with townhouses, single family. So break that down for us.
Yep. Yeah. So that's just the percentage of single family homes versus townhomes, what's sold in the neighborhood. So only 1 townhome, 3 single family homes. Pretty typical that the detached single family homes are the bulk of the sales for this neighborhood.
Gotcha. Okay. Next graph we got for everybody. Now this one is interesting because I was going to pick your brain a little bit about the difference between the single family price and rental price and then the townhome price. Have you seen a larger gap? Or has it always kind of been around that way?
Yeah, no, I think normally the gap is a little bit larger between the price of a single family home rental versus a townhome rental.
Yeah.
I think our data, if we're being nerds again, is just a very small pool just because this is a year to date average and we are
Okay.
like 3 weeks into
Right. Right.
2020.
Okay.
But normally the single family homes, I would say, are closer to the $4,000, maybe the high 3,000s price range for a rental. Townhomes, this is a great price for a rental home for a townhome in this neighborhood. So
Yeah.
normally we see a little bit bigger of a gap than the $300, but I expect that will even out as the year progresses.
Well, that's really a great price because with the BAH for a lot of military families, that's a pretty comfortable payment. Some might have to bring a couple hundred and others not, but that's not bad, right at that ballpark to live in Embrey Mill, which is actually kind of surprising how close that is to what your BAH would be.
Yep. And I do expect the further we get into the year, the higher those prices are going to go up.
Mm-hmm.
Because most people, they buy a house. If they're military, they're staying here for 2 or 3 years. We're kind of still in that mark where people are putting their houses on the market for rentals and they still have those, 2 or 3% interest rates.
Yep.
Really, landlords, they're just trying to cover, their mortgage payment and any insurance, anything extra that they have to put on the outside, HOA, all those costs, they're trying to cover those costs. So if you have a 2 or 3% interest rate and you're doing that, that looks a lot different than, some of the people that bought in 2024, 2025, and they have a 5, 6, 7% interest rate. Those rental prices, I think, are going to go pretty substantially higher to try to cover that.
Well, one point I want to make on that for people, though, let's say, Anne, for example, that you had purchased your townhome and you bought it a couple years ago and your interest rate right now is like 6.375, something like that. And you got orders and you moved away and now it's a rental property for you. One of the best features of an FH or a VA loan that most people don't know is that you can actually refinance a VA loan, even if it's an investment property for you. So you could have not lived there for 9 years and going rate right now I probably get you like 5.375. So you could drop that 6.375 down to 5.375 and do it again once rates fall.
Yeah. And that actually everybody's always asking about interest rates. That difference in interest rate makes a huge difference, in my opinion, on your monthly payment.
Yep.
If you're a landlord, that's more money in your pocket.
Yep. Cash flow is definitely king when you have things that pop up. But like you said, the folks that are kind of sitting on those 2.5s and under 3%, yeah, they're going to hold on to those a while because those are definitely cash flowing and really nicely for them right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Next one we're going to talk about, we're going to go over what a great property to look at. Let's go ahead and see if I can get it pulled up the right way. Now, typically we kind of do 3 homes, but you kind of just picked a great one for us to chat about. And so I'm excited about this one. This is, let me get it right back up this way, 462 Coastal Avenue. Now this right out of the gate, this was interesting to me because of the color scheme, but then we're going to get inside and we're really going to see some stuff. So go ahead. Tell us about this property.
Yeah, so this is our home of the month over on Coastal Avenue. It is kind of a unique color for Embrey Mill. We have all sorts of colors, obviously.
Right.
You have to make choices, but this one is definitely a brighter blue. So a lot of personality with the curb appeal on this one. I think it is a great active listing. It's only been on the market for 7 days.
Okay.
And it's got some beautiful features on the inside.
And this is kind of unique when you and I were chatting before we hopped on, that I had not seen this before on any of the houses that we looked at. But go ahead, Ann. What are we looking at in that kitchen?
Yeah, we're seeing upgraded white appliances, which I am actually a little bit obsessed over in this house. Normally, when we see white appliances, I think most people think to, dated, older. That was kind of in the 90s, 2000s.
Right.
If you see like that oven that opens, that is cool to me. Like I would probably buy this house just to be able to do that with the oven. But it's definitely upgraded appliances, huge island, quartz counter, lovely cabinets and hardware. I think they kind of went all out in this kitchen.
I really like how the hood really lines up with the color scheme. And then they have the bronze gold. What would you classify that as for the kind of the fixtures?
Yeah, I think they're gold fixtures, which I think looks great on the white. It's very classy. Really yeah, especially, you get that little pop of color with the navy blue island there. I just think it's a great neutral palette for a kitchen.
Yeah, I love how they have the espresso machine over here too. That's also white. So they definitely went all in on the theme, and that looks great. So I'm a big fan of that kitchen too. We're gonna have to remember this one as we go through the year of kind of like the house of the month, and kind of see is that more a trend that we're gonna start seeing, or this was kind of an outlier with this, but really attractive to me as well. So let's go and keep going through. They're definitely showcasing the kitchen. We have a lot of photos of that. Let's see. So good size. It's, talk to us a little bit about kind of the location for this property. Is this the newer section? What's this in location, everything?
Yep. So this is on one of the main roads in phase 2. That's one of the only detractors that I could say buyers, might have some feedback on. There's really nothing the sellers can do about that, though. I mean,
Right.
that's just the location of the house. You can't pick it up and move it. They are one of the ones that have the garage in the back. So you get that really nice curb appeal up front. And then you'll use the alleyways to, get in and out of the house in the back. But phase 2 is great. You're walking distance to a lot of the amenities, easy bike ride to the Rouse Center or Publix. It's a great spot.
Well, and definitely when they doing such a great job on the kitchen, and this has very great color scheme, just kind of flows really nicely, and it's got some uniqueness, which I kind of like. So the color scheme that they had there was very impressive. Let's kind of see if there's some other photos. Kind of click through a little quicker for everybody. When was this one built?
Oh gosh, I don't have the date on that, but it would have been probably 2021, 2020, around there for that phase of the neighborhood.
And we have the finished basement, which is obviously a plus for the size wise. So I mean, looks, yeah, they got space for everything. There's your home gym right there. So walkout basement, and this one's good to go. So what was the price point on this one again?
This one is listed at $720,000, which I think is a great price for this size house. It's got 5 legal bedrooms. I think it's a great value for any buyer that wants to come in, and build their equity in the neighborhood.
Yeah, and like you said, it's that's a little bit above what we saw for the average, but below kind of what we've seen in the previous ones we've talked about. So that looks good, and I think it's a great opportunity for folks. All right, well, let's dive into a little bit about all right, if I am expecting orders, I'm moving. When should I be having you come in? What's kind of the stage of ideal listing time? Talk to us a little bit about how do we take advantage of the market?
Yeah, immediately. Okay. Should be coming in so we can kind of game plan. I always, for my sellers, try to plan out our potential timeline to give them the least amount of grief as possible. So a lot of times that is us trying to pair up listing the house with any spring break plans they had. Spring break in Stafford County is at the end of March, but it is really, really nice for my sellers to just be able to get the house clean once and show ready once. They pack up, they go on vacation. It's go and show, people can come in the entire time they're gone. Hopefully we get it under contract and get that home inspection done before they even come back. That is the dream timeline for a lot of sellers, just because getting a ping that someone wants to come see the house in 2 hours and scrambling to get the dog and
been there. Yes.
That is one of the biggest complaints for sellers. I mean, that is just not fun for anyone to do. So we really try to line up our timelines based off of, a long weekend staycation or spring break or something like that. So if you are hoping to get that done and get that scenario, we are knocking on the door of February. So sooner rather than later.
Now's your time. And something to point out too. So let's say that you have orders out of here, you're moving somewhere out of state, and you can pair them with an agent outside of our general vicinity. Obviously you can help pretty much in the most vicinity for Northern Virginia, but folks need to keep that in mind. Ann can help you find somebody, a qualified, great agent elsewhere. And I'm also licensed in North Carolina, Florida, Texas, and Washington State. So if you happen to go to any of those, I can work with you as well.
Yeah, no, I do it every week. I have conversations with past clients, that have already moved out of Virginia, but are now moving to different states. They will ping me up and just let me know, do I have any recommendations for an agent or a lender in, whatever state it is. I know somebody in just about every single state. So It is so much easier to work with somebody that has already been vetted and is going to get the job done. Because like I've said many times, we all look the same, real estate agents and lenders online. It's really, you want someone that is going to work hard for you and get you results. So I'm happy to have those conversations. I know you are as well.
Yep.
I'm only licensed in Virginia, but yeah, you've hit a lot of the military states.
Well, that's might be strategic. That might be a little bit strategery right there, but that's right. Well, and as always, thank you so much for hopping on with me. We're going to see everybody next month. We'll see how the market's doing. You're going to be dug out from the ice and the snow, and we'll be go time for the spring.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.